Hello, welcome to the Easy Path Project live stream. This is Michael. It is Monday, May 26, 2025. And as we're following up on um, the last live streams we've done, we've been talking about problems that might be leading you to have problems with girls. The basic premise is that you probably got underlying issues that are causing you to have problems. And if you try to do things like learn uh, lines, pick up lines, or pick up routines, or you do any of the things that that you would think of that would would help you pick up girls or whatever, you're finding they're not working. It's probably because you have underlying issues. And the idea behind the Easy Path project is to help you overcome those underlying issues. Um, what you'll find is that there's two things. One, you'll have exponential growth of like your personal development as you improve any single one aspect of your inner game. The other aspects of the inner game will just naturally improve. It's I explained that all back in one of the earlier live streams. I've got a playlist so you can check it out. But so the first thing we're talking about is exponential growth. So each of the things will get better just as you improve one, you will improve all. And the second part is that that these improvements that you'll experience are not necessarily just for dating. They'll help you with every other part of your life, family, social, friends, work, church. Any time that you have to deal with humans, if you have a stronger inner frame, a stronger inner game, it's going to help you with your interpersonal communication. And that just naturally, once you have better interpersonal communication, you'll find that that leads to just a general overall improvement. And so tonight, like I said, so first I started telling you about, okay, well, these are the improvements that you're gonna have, and then I started explaining the exponential growth. Well, tonight I think that we're gonna concentrate on how to recognize the underlying issues that you might have. So it's just going to be basically statements that that I'll read out, let you kind of run them through your head a little and see if they stick. If it's something that that sticks with you, then it might be something you want to explore. And that's where the live stream part of this comes in. If it is something that you've identified, one of the underlying issues, one of the inner game, uh, like a snafu or something, like something that's just not working for you, and you want to work it out, this is the place to do that, because we're all about exponential growth and making things happen the easy way. So tonight, we're going to talk about what past lessons are you unknowingly carrying that's sabotaging your dating life. Okay. Like I said, there's a whole bunch of different aspects of inner game. I think I've identified 9, and one of them is is low self-worth and low self-confidence. And that often arises from early criticism and lingers into adulthood, affecting relationships. Things that you picked up as a child, and like I've mentioned in the past, they could be good things that you learned. These are things in general, right? That you've picked up as a child. It could be good things that you learned, bad things that you learned, things that were just plain old incorrect. And then other things that might have been appropriate for the time, or for a very short period of time, like the exact time that it happened, or maybe another short a little bit of time or whatever. But it might be stuff that you're still hanging on to. And sometimes I've really I've started um, a deep dive into some of the aspects of hypnotism and the way that as a child, and I do not have an entire lesson of this put together, so I'm not going to be able to explain it right this moment. But the idea is that as a child, like your brain is in a certain phase, a certain learning phase, so that everything that you experience or that you hear or see or whatever, you pick it up and it kind of sticks. And so the idea is that some of these things that you're still carrying around to this day are things you picked up when you were a kid, and they're just not helpful anymore if they ever were. And so the idea is like just drop them, just figure out some way to stop holding on to them. They have no value anymore. They're not applicable. So why bother to even consider them, right? And if they are holding you back, then throw them away like with force. And one of the things that if you do have, for instance, low self-worth, sometimes it can make you kind of desperate or clingy or whatever. Like you sort of strive for affection or for attention or whatever. And if you're acting with desperation, it often pushes people away rather than drawing them closer. And really, I mean, like I mentioned before, and I'll mention it again, but women are human, just like you, right? As a guy, you're a human, she's a human, but men and women are not the same. They have a totally different set of skills and um, abilities and whatnot. And one of the things that women seem to be particularly acutely aware of is if you're desperate or needy or clingy or whatever, and they find it to be kind of gross. I mean, if you always hear them, how hear women talk about the ick or the whatever. Well, desperation, neediness, clinginess, like trying to grasp, trying to hold, whatever, like that is ick, like in a nutshell. And so you'll really want to get rid of whatever is causing that or whatever is leading to this result. So over the course of this series of live streams and the videos that I make and everything, I'll be teaching you. I mean, I'll be explaining to you, the ways that you can take small, consistent steps towards self-acceptance and build like genuine resilience. Like make it so that you don't really care in a sense, like that. If you do have a setback of whatever type, that you don't hang on to it. You just let it go. You realize, it's just like as a child or whatever, like you were trying to learn how to walk. Um, you fell down a couple times, I imagine, as a kid, even before you uh, took your first step. You probably did a couple of face plants. And I'm pretty sure you kept going until you got good at it. And so that's the same thing we're talking about here. It's like, and I mentioned it last night as a point in the slideshow. So if you missed last night's show, go back. I've got a playlist and where I talked about like one of the aspects, or last night's show, it was Friday night's show, um, that having a growth mindset and embracing that growth mindset allows you to change things. Like nothing is set in stone. You've got the ability to shape your life the way you want it. And if those things are holding you back, well, get rid of them. And once you get rid of those things, you'll find that the things that were causing you some mental discomfort in the past or whatever, those things will they won't matter as much. They won't have the same sting or whatever that they might have had in the past. And once you get to the point where you can just have small setbacks or whatever that really don't slow you down or whatever, it's like you'll just find yourself moving forward, making progress, and things will start to get easier from there. So the name of this live stream tonight is Why do I feel I am not good enough by myself to get a girl or have a relationship? Like I said, self-confidence, self-worth. And then it starts to bring in other aspects like, authenticity and, your values, like who you are and what you stand for, what you want to do. There's a whole bunch of stuff we're going to get into tonight. But like I said, this is not necessarily me explaining, exactly how you're going to be able to solve uh, these issues. It's more of a exploration of the ideas themselves tonight. You know, if I read something and it kind of sticks in your head, um, like I said, hang on to that for a minute and start to explore it and see if that is what's holding you back, and if so, um, what you can do to get rid of it. Okay, yeah, and like I mentioned, I have live streams each weeknight around 7:30 p.m. Central. Watch the replays in the live stream playlist that I've put together, so that you can keep up to date. And like I said, each of these little lessons that I put together in these live streams, each one of them builds on the other. And like I said, they work together. So you'll actually, um, once you can kind of form a cohesive understanding of inner game and how it works and how you're going to improve it, um, that's when you're really going to start to grow, start to feel better. And I think that is actually an opportunity for me to explain one last time, or not one last time tonight, right? So the idea is that, you know, a lot of people think that like personal development or self improvement or whatever is hard. And I mean, it can be baloney. But like I said, it's usually hard because you're like fighting against stuff that, if you got like a bad situation that you had in your childhood that you're still holding on to right this minute, right? And so on the other hand, you're sitting there and you're trying to improve, but yet you're still holding on to this crap. Well, this crap is keeping this from working. And so once you get rid of this, make it go away, and then this right here is what you'll have. And once you have that, then that's like the key to growing. Like, yeah, I don't know how to make it any simpler than that. Like, there's a lot of good stuff waiting for you once you start dropping this crap that you're hanging on to. Do to do. So, like I mentioned, these are ideas. In fact, I've got tonight and tomorrow night. I've already made up the slideshows. So tonight and tomorrow night, we'll be talking about this exact same topic, and also maybe give you some ideas um, how to start implementing some changes. But let's start here, okay? So one of the situations where you have a self-doubt or whatever that's holding you back, where you want to get ahead. So, for instance, having crippling self-esteem or low self-worth, which is identified as a common problem matrix that can lead to feeling like crap and making people very critical of themselves. And I think that's very common. Just like I mentioned that your improvements stack upon themselves, I believe that also like your problems stack upon themselves. So if you do have a self-esteem issue, you probably have a confidence issue, you probably have a like an authenticity issue or an identity issue, like, oh, you don't really know who you are or where you stand. And so once you start to solidify those ideas, start to make things whenever you hear about like the alpha giga chads or whatever, like they're strong, solid people. They know who they are, or at least they present that they know who they are. And so that's really, one of the fundamentals here is that you want to start identifying these problems and determining who the real you is. Constant internal comparison with others, believing I can never be like that, like somebody who is that confident, which directly fuels the feeling of inadequacy. E- So each person is different, right? We each have our strengths and weaknesses, and we share a lot of things, but we're also um, uniquely good at some things, and uniquely bad at some things. And so it's really a mishmash of things. And for you to sit there and like look at somebody across the room or whatever, and you think that like just by looking at them or whatever, like that you don't compare to them, or that you don't stand up to them or whatever, like you can't be confident in yourself. And that's just, it's got to be an underlying issue that you have to deal with. Don't compare yourself, right? Like, you are you. And when you start presenting yourself as you, people will tend to be more receptive. And so if you do find yourself in a situation where you're comparing yourself with other people, like, don't. I mean, just let that slide. It's like, okay, take your inner strengths, who you are, and move forward with that. Like, don't worry about the other people. Like, and that actually fits in with one of my other comments that I'm always making about online dating, is that if you're comparing yourself with people with photos or with profiles or whatever, people, or like for instance, you always hear about how people are concerned about how they deal with what they see on Instagram or whatever, these people with these curated lives where everything looks just perfect or just so. And then you're sitting there, in your daily life that's just probably like most other people's, or probably 99% of people, and you're comparing yourself, and it's like the comparison is not valid. First of all, they've curated this and everything. And so it's not necessarily like true. It's what you see, but I mean, like, they, whatever. Anyway, I got to be careful. I don't want to bring up all these weird woo thoughts that I have. Um, so the other idea of that is like if you're trying to compete on on a dating app, for instance, and then you're comparing yourself to those guys. Well, I would say don't like even bother with that kind of thing. I think that it probably, that time would be much better spent if you were just going up and meeting girls in person, or getting out in just to positions where you could possibly meet a girl. Like, because, when you're sitting there comparing yourself to other people, like on these like very shallow things like looks or height or uh, money or status or whatever, all of those things, if you're on a website, they take on one kind of significance. But I promise you, if you are like right in front of a girl and you are talking to her, if you're charming her, she could not care less about any of that other crap. Um, and so, you know, if you're right there and you're pretty smooth, like Giga Chad doesn't have a chance because he's on a dating app and you are right there in front of her. Yeah, like I said, there's a lot of ways to make this really easy, and one way is just to compete on a field where where you're more even. And I'll show you how to make yourself more even, or even better than even. We will get to some tricks and some magic and some hypnosis and all kinds of good stuff over the course of this live stream. Not this particular one, but this live stream series, like for all time. Like I said, I have a whole bunch of goodies in my goodie bag that I want to share, and I want to see some of you guys take them and have the lives you want. Okay, doubting your own abilities, which is a characteristic of lacking confidence. I always bring up in fact, it's on another slide here tonight, I believe. But the idea about, if you're not an outgoing person and you're not good at approaching you haven't had good luck with girls or whatever, based on your limited experience, maybe things have gone poorly, or maybe they've gone uncomfortably or weird or whatever. I mean, there's all kinds of different ways. Um, and it's because you lack the confidence. And one of the things that I talk about all the time is the ability to kind of get out of your own world and move into a different world and try to practice on this stuff. It's just like, when you're starting out a video game, you play it on uh, the easy level, or maybe just, the first couple of levels or whatever are pretty simple so that you understand the basics of the game, and so that you can get better and then move forward. And, things get harder as you go on, but your skills have grown too. So it's even. It's the same thing, I think, with specifically dating, or if you have situations where you're finding it very difficult to talk with people just in general. You might be introverted, or you might be shy, or you might myriad of reasons, right? That you might feel uncomfortable. That go. I call it a holodeck, right? For Star Trek or whatever. Like, go to the next town over, someplace where nobody knows you. Uh, and just try to make the absolute minimal conversation with people or whatever. I mean, but like, actually, like, try to make conversations. For instance, um, one of the things that when I'm signing in at the gym or at the pool or at the wherever, usually there's a girl there who's holding like one of those the scanners, so they can scan like a QR code or a barcode or whatever. And so, I noticed that, like, if the girl has nails, lots of girls have their nails done, and so I say, hey, I like your nails. And then the girl scans my little QR thing, and then I go on and work out at the gym. It's like there was zero effort involved, right? I was able to have a conversation, just a little itty bitty teeny tiny thing. I was like, hey, here's my offer to you. Wow, your nails look cute. The girl takes it as a compliment. It's not that you have to be creepy or anything, right? All you're saying is like, hey, I saw your nails when you were holding the QR reader. So it's a really easy step, an easy way that you can approach opportunities to have a conversation or to interact with people. And once you do that, just the simple repetition. And like I said, if you're some other place, like if you're on this holodeck that I call it, if you're on the next or in the next town over, then if you stumble over your words, or say something stupid, or your voice sounds goofy or whatever, who cares? Like, none of it's going to matter. None of it's going to stick, right? Because at the end of the day, when you get back in your car or get back on the bus or on the train or whatever, you go back to your town, you go back to your life, and all of that other stuff was just a simulation. All that other stuff was just you practicing with like zero ability to come back to you and harm you in any way. All these kind of things are, the easy path project, right? We're talking about making real improvements in your life, but making them as easy as possible. I don't think that it has to be a situation with motivation. I don't think it has to be a situation with discipline, or, sticking to a grind, or making things, like a chore or whatever. Just find easy ways to make these things happen. Okay, so the next one would be being overly critical of yourself, which is strongly associated with low self-worth. Um, if you're a perfectionist, you kind of know how this goes, right? Sometimes you sit there and beat yourself up um, for not getting something perfect, or making a little mistake, or if something could have gone better or whatever, and you sit there and just, run it through your mind over and over. Okay, well, don't do that, right? I mean, do it long enough to evaluate. They have the OODA loop, and I don't have that handy here, so I can't tell you what that is. But it's basically what the military uses to, determine if something is a target or not. Right? You sit there and you think about it. Okay, I evaluate this target, yes or no. Okay, what's the same way with what you're talking about here? If you've got situations where you made a mistake or where you've um, been kind of clumsy or whatever, you just evaluate that. You take what you can from that lesson and then you move on, right? You don't sit there and hang on to the anger or to the disappointment or whatever of having made that mistake or having stumbled or whatever. You just say, okay, well, this is what I learned from that, and then move on down the road. Meanwhile, you leave that actual occurrence, just, throw it in the trash because it doesn't matter. Okay, a lack of self belief leading to statements like, I can't do this or I can't do that. Well, that refers kind of back to what we were talking about earlier. It's like a lot of times the reason why you think you can't do something is because you haven't given yourself the opportunity to practice yet or to get good at it yet. You know, for whatever reason, you're holding yourself back. And if you're telling yourself, like, even before you've started, I can't do this or I can't do that, well, the odds are that you're probably right, and it's because you're holding yourself back. But once you start to get a little bit of self-confidence, grow your self-worth, get rid of this self-belief. Like I said, it's one of those things. You have a growth mindset, you have the ability to transform yourself into what you want to become. And you know how about you use self-talk like, I can do this, I can do that, right? And if you stumble, it's just like when you were a little kid. Okay, well, you don't know how to walk yet, but you walk, you fall, you stumble, you scratch your nose, whatever, you cry a little, and then you stand back up and you try again. I mean, that's right where we are. Okay, so what do you think? um, do you see how easy these things can be? um, it's as simple as like identifying them and then sort of just thinking, okay, well, what am I holding on to that's not valuable, that has no worth to me, that is either outdated or incorrect, or can be a lesson to you in the future. It's like, wow, I had problems with this in the past, and it was because of this idea that I was holding on to that was incorrect. And I think that will help you discard some of the incorrect information that you're carrying around, like beyond that particular thing. Once you find yourself discarding these useless detritus or whatever that you've been carrying around, um, it's just going to be easier and easier to get rid of those other things. Like, you'll have done it once, you'll have the experience, you'll have confidence that you can do it again. And if you know anybody who needs to hear some of this stuff, and it's kind of sensitive, right? You don't want to be talking to your buddies, hey, I noticed you don't have any luck with the girls, or I know that you've got self-confidence issues or self-worth issues, or beat yourself up over perfectionism or whatever. It's like, and I've got this video you ought to watch. Well, if you can figure out how to do that, definitely. If you know somebody who needs to hear this message, please share it. Share the link to the video. Let them let them hear what I'm saying here, and hopefully, like I said, you and your buddy will both start growing together, and you can actually be like teammates. You know, like in the military, they usually assign you a buddy, or you pick a buddy or whatever, and that's the dude that you take care of, and that dude takes care of you. And so, yeah, so let's build this into a club. I mean, that's the idea behind the Easy Path project, and also these live streams. It's I want to form a group of guys who are kind of on the same page, that are coming from the kind of same things, um, and all getting better together, holding each other up, uh, helping each other along. Um, yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. Um, So let's do that. So if, like I said, if you know anybody who needs to hear this message, please share it. Okay. This one, it goes back to the thing we talked about in the very first slide. It's like, for whatever reason, even at the earliest parts of your childhood, you could have had a situation where you just always had kind of a poor self-image. And it's because, like I said, the first aspect of it is that your mind when you're a child is almost a situation like where you're in a very receptive hypnotic state, and that I think they call it a theta wave. I've built a whole lesson together or recently, and so we'll definitely be talking about this. But the idea is that so you pick up things when you're a child, and all these messages are coming in, and so you're just storing them. Well, you don't know if they're good or bad. You don't have any way to evaluate, so you just hang on to them. And those are the things that you need to get rid of. You need to start. You need to start dropping those. If you haven't had a good self-image, figure out why you haven't had a good self-image. What are the underlying reasons? And what are the easy, comfortable, like simple steps that you can take to get rid of whatever it is that's holding you back? Because it's going to be very difficult to move forward if you're not able to kind of stop looking backwards. Like you got to stop looking backwards, look forward. All the things that were holding you back in the past, let them go. Like they are no longer valuable to you. Also, feeling fearful that you are not good enough, particularly in the context of relationships. Lots of guys sit there and compare themselves. Like I said, it's a really weird time. Like in the past, and I'm talking about like in the recent past. I'm talking about like when I was a high schooler and whatever. Like the idea was like, that you had like this pool of people that were around you or whatever, and you knew them from school or whatever. And that was kind of like the dating pool. Well, now with the dating apps and everything, that's really like just thrown everything off balance now. And so, if people are sitting there looking at Instagram and all these curated profiles and they're just living these wonderful lives and everything, and you sit there and you look at your own life, and you try to compare it, and that's gonna make it where you feel down just from the actual comparison. And I think that we were talking a moment ago about the items from the past that that these people have taught you or that you've picked up. um that could have even started when you were a child. Your parents, if they're 18 or 21 or even 30 or whatever, like when they're raising you, like they're still not really. When 25 is when the human brain stops developing. So it's like if they had you about that time, they're still not even fully developed human. And so you, as a very impressionable child, like you're just a magnet for all this information. And like they're trying to teach you and raise you and deal with all the aspects of their lives. So they were probably raised by very young parents too. So they're confused. So all this kind of confused crap just builds up and builds up. And you are carrying it right now, I bet, you know? And once you decide that, I'm not going to carry this crap, that's when you start to feel lighter, more comfortable, and go through life uh, with ease. And so this thing that you're like, that I'm not good enough. It's like that's not true. It's like like I said, you can improve in the sense that you can get rid of the things that are holding you back. But like when you're born, like you're perfect, right? It's not me like exaggerating or trying to blow sunshine up your ass or whatever. I'm not trying to make it sound like some woo woo thing. I mean, it is honest. Like, when you're first born, like you're not shy, or you're not afraid to say something or to do something or be something or whatever. But as you go through your life and these little learning experiences that you have, if you do stumble, and then, like, if you take that in, like, you're actually still holding on to that lesson. It's like, well, all that's doing is like crap. It's like a barnacle that's sticking to you or whatever. And it's like, so you just pry that thing off. It's like, you are good enough. And, once you start getting to, like, to the authentic you, like, to the real you, like, if you're having these considerations where, like, well, I'm a good person or whatever, but, people just don't see the real me, or they don't understand me. It's like, because you're not demonstrating the real you yet. And it's like, but once you clear off all that crap that's been sticking to you like barnacles, and then you start showing people who you are, then they'll start realizing how cool you are. I mean, it's amazing just the transformation that you can make, and it doesn't have to be hard. This isn't difficult. This isn't. First of all, like I said, tonight, as we're doing this, we're doing it so that you can identify these things. Are these things that I'm dealing with? Okay, well, that's a great first step. And then the next step is just that we're gonna, you know, evaluate what it is that you're dealing with, and then start to improve it. Just clear it away. Uh, One of my favorite books, the lady talks about having like a cosmic broom, and so she talks about, like, being in a little cabin and being able to use this little cosmic broom to just get rid of all the crap that's all the dust and cobwebs and crap, and so she can have just this little beautiful pristine place. And it's like, that's really how you want to be with your life. That's like how you want to be with your mind. It's like, let's just sweep all the crap out. Let's get rid of that. Let's get to a pristine, clean, beautiful mind, and then the rest of it will take care of itself. Okay, your self-worth being dependent on having a partner, indicating that you cannot self-validate or rely on external validation from her. um, you have inherent value, and it's not like on a timeline or whatever. So, like, you have good value, like you are a good person now, whether you have a girl or you don't have a girl or whatever, none of that matters. And, like, if you're feeling that you're somehow deficient or that you're somehow lacking because you don't have a relationship or whatever, it's like you just haven't gotten into that position yet where you're going to have it. One of the things that a lot of people, they'd like to clown on, like, there was that old book and movie and everything, The Secret, where they talk about manifestation. And a lot of people really misunderstand that. But the idea, and I talked about it recently in these other live streams. So, go back and check the playlists and see what I've said about this. It's like, but, when you have decided what kind of person you are, and what the other person, like your person, who she is going to be, and what kind of person she is going to be, and what kind of values and everything she's going to have. Once you get those two things aligned, it's like, okay, once you start to become the kind of guy that would get that kind of girl, then it's almost like a situation. It's like, well, if you weren't that guy, that girl, she could have come along and you still would not have been able to get with her, because you're not, congruent. You're not ready for one another. So the idea, get rid of all the crap, like, make yourself the best possible version of yourself, start to improve yourself in the sense that, like, once you start to clear out this crap, it's going to just inherent, like, your inherent value is going to sort of bubble up. And at that point, then the quality of the women that you're going to attract is also going to come up. It's really a neat little way that works. So it's not necessarily that you're going to sit there and just, hope and pray and whatever. Like, you remember that movie, uh, oh, it was some old movie from the 70s where there was like a parade or whatever, and this little boy is sitting on his bed reading a Playboy, and then this like a cheerleader gets thrown through the window or whatever from this parade, And the little boy goes, "Thank you, God." It's like, it's not going to be quite like that. But what it is going to be is a situation. It's like where you get rid of all the stuff that was keeping you from having that girl or whatever. Then you're going to find those other girls that would be attracted to the version of yourself that's not carrying that crap around. Like you'll attract her anyway. So don't worry about where you are right this moment. Uh, you know who you are and your personal worth and your value. Um, it doesn't have anything to do with anybody else. Like you're marching to your own drummer. You're beating your own path, and just get on down the road, feeling good about yourself and feeling that you're making progress. Okay, overgeneralization from a past negative experience, such as the first girl you asked out saying no, leading to the belief, "I am unattractive to all women." That kind of gets back to what I was talking about a moment ago about how you know we have such limited experience with things or whatever, and we try to extrapolate, because that's how our brains work, right? Taking a pattern and going from that pattern and then extrapolating it. Okay, well, if I haven't done well with a girl this one time, that means that every time I'm gonna have trouble with girls. It's like, no, it's like you had trouble that first time. Okay, well, deal with it, right? It's like, what did you learn? Did you say something stupid? Okay, well, you learn not to say anything stupid like that again. I mean, is it something you got to beat yourself up over? No. It's like if you're not attaching any value to situations where you might stumble or you might even fail or whatever, who cares? Like, get on down the road. It's like I learned something from this. That's what I'm taking away, and the loss or the failure or whatever, you just throw it in the trash and move on. Okay, feeling insecure about a whole host of things, including general lack of confidence and perceiving lacks such as social skills, self confidence, and masculinity. People feel like they got to be like perfect. They got to have everything just so. And the only way that they're going to get a girl is if they're perfect or whatever. And it's like, well, actually, the idea is that if you get rid of this whole host of insecurities that you might be carrying around, that's going to lead you to the girls that you want. You're not gonna have to improve a whole bunch of stuff. You're gonna have to like unimprove stuff, right? It's like you're gonna have to sort of repair what's been uh, corrupted or whatever. Not you're not gonna have to beat yourself up trying to do personal development or get or self improvement or whatever. It's like it's the exact opposite. It's like, okay, well, I might have a lack of confidence. Or, okay, well, what's causing me to have that lack of confidence? Oh, well, it was because there was a girl, and when I asked her out and she said no or whatever. Okay, well, practice again. It's like, yeah, find out these little ways, these little things that can make it comfortable and easy and simple for you. Once you do those things, you'll find that the problems, I mean, that we talk about, like here I listed social skills, self-confidence, and masculinity. Well, if you've got an issue with your masculinity, go to the gym. If you've got a trouble with social skills, go to the next town. uh, just make a simple comment, say I'm going to go into 5 different stores and buy 5 6 or packs of gum, and every time I'm just going to say hi to the lady or ask her where something is, or make some other comment. Oh, hey, what do you think about this weather? I mean, like, it doesn't matter. Nobody cares. It might as well be a simulation because you're somewhere else, but you're practicing. It's like once you do these repetitions, you know, you're going to grow. Well, you just take all that back to your home, right? Because you're in a simulation in the next town over, wherever. When you come back, the stuff that you've picked up is real. And it's like, well, you don't have to feel insecure about these things because first of all, the stuff that you're hanging on to isn't real. I mean, you might perceive it as real. You might think it, you might feel it, but that's all just like an illusion. It's just because you were a little kid. You picked up all these stupid things and now you're an adult and it's time to throw them aside. There's no more time for that hanging on to crap that isn't real. Like you're about to get serious. Okay. And that's the first 10 of these. Like I said, I've got tomorrow night another list of 10 things, just ways to evaluate where you're coming from. It's like what is it that's holding you back? Why can't you be the person you want to be? you know and think about it. Really, it's like, be honest with yourself. That's where this all begins. Okay. Truthfully analyze what it is that's holding you back, and then just find the simplest, easiest, most comfortable ways to kind of shed them. Whether that's hypnosis. I find that I actually had a situation at one point where I went through some very light hypnosis or whatever, and I actually learned some techniques um, where I was able to kind of put my brain into another state. And I found that some issues that I was having to deal with just kind of took on a dreamlike quality. They weren't necessarily so much real anymore. I'm not talking about that for all of your things, but then again, I'm not talking about that. Like I said, you know, if you think about life in general as being kind of like a simulation, it's like you don't really have to attach any value to it because it's not real, right? It's just like if you're playing a video game or whatever. You don't die in real life. If you die as a character in Super Mario or whatever, it's like, no, it's just a game. So if you can kind of gamify your life, you'll find that that's going to make it a lot easier for you. Anyway, so as we're wrapping up here, are you getting any value from this video? Are you learning anything? Are you getting some ideas, starting to see ways that you can uh, make yourself feel better? Um, this is the easy way to do that. What I'm talking about here does not take discipline. It does not take motivation. It doesn't take like grinding. It doesn't take sticking to it. I mean, really, if you can find something that you're hanging on to that's causing you problems and just figure out a way to shuffle out from under it or whatever, that's what's going to make it easier for you across the board. And like I said, once you start realizing the exponential growth that I'm talking about, when you improve one aspect of your inner game or your inner frame, that all of the others will improve simultaneously. And suddenly you'll see just massive growth when you're starting to work on, 4 or 5 or 6 of the aspects of inner game. I mean, it just gets easier and easier and easier from here. Like, this is really the absolute hardest point. It's like, if you can just take this one little step and start moving forward, it's going to make it, it's going to make your life just incredible. And it does start right here. So if you are getting any value from this, or if you're starting to see um, what I'm talking about and seeing how you can apply it to your life and how it can allow you to sort of shed some of the things that have been holding you back and really improve towards the life that you're ready for. I mean, think about it. It's like, how much time have you spent letting this hold you back? And it's like it's got to be like pent up energy, like inside you, that it's just going to explode. I mean, you'll see. I sit here and I keep talking about this like it's some crazy magical whatever thing, and it sure enough is. And you're really gonna see what I'm talking about if you start applying some of these things I'm talking about. Anyway, I had quite a few viewers tonight, but once again, everybody's so shy. Nobody says hello. Nobody starts the conversation. This is a conversation here. This isn't me just, you know, talking to a camera. This is me wanting to get in touch with my tribe, right? I'm inviting the people that I want to come along with me on this journey. And if you're watching this and you're kind of digging what I'm talking about, and definitely, uh, come onto the live streams and say hello and let's talk, or leave a comment. Leave comments on the replays of the live stream, and I'll respond to those, and we'll get a conversation going, and we'll see how things start to multiply once you start adding in. Right now it's just me talking to you about stuff that I'm thinking about. It's like once you tell me what you're thinking about, and then I can, uh, come at it from that angle. I mean, things are really going to get cool. Like I'm going to be blown away. Like I said, you know, this isn't necessarily just a situation where I'm talking to you, for the fun of talking. Like I have some things I want to get out of this too, and I know that if I find the right guys, those right guys are going to lead me down the towards the results that I want. And so, that's kind of selfish on my part, but I'm kind of anxious. So, all my friends and brothers, like I said, you are invited along. Let's make this happen. And in that, in the idea of that, if you subscribe and you turn on the notifications, you can catch the live streams live as they're occurring. I do them each Monday through Friday at 7:30 p.m. Central. But if you want to join in the live stream and chat and whatever, click subscribe, turn on the notifications bell, and that way YouTube will let you know what we're doing when I'm gonna have a show. Okay, so to wrap this up, by shifting your mindset, you'll attract relationships built on respect, not neediness. The things that have led up to you feeling like that you are not worthy, or that you somehow have to earn somebody's attention or their respect or um, their affection or whatever. Um, by shifting your mindset, by accepting who you are and accepting that you're growing, and identifying these things that have been holding you back, once you find that those are no longer useful to you and you let them drop to the wayside or whatever, like you're going to feel a lot better. Like that's going to be the first step. Just decide what it is that you're ready to drop. And like I said, ick, like neediness equals ick. If you don't want to ever hear a girl say ick, like get rid of clingy, uh, chasing, neediness, all those things. Yeah, like I said, this is so easy that you won't need those things anymore when you start to feel good about yourself. Okay, so like I mentioned, live streams Monday through Friday around 7:30 p.m. Central. Watch the replays in the playlist. Lots of interesting stuff there. I've started putting chapters on the live stream, so if you don't want to watch the whole live stream replay, you can go in and just look at a single chapter or whatever, and that'll give you an idea of where I'm coming from. You can learn a lot in a little bit of time, and we'll go from there. Anyway, so thank you for hanging out tonight, and I'll be here tomorrow night, and we'll have part 2 of From Self-Doubt to Strength, Overcoming Low Self-Worth to Win. Anyway, with that, I'm out of here for the night. Take it easy.